Some people are just never satisfied, no matter how much they achieve.
I'm shocked now with how much Trenbolone people use.
Ever wondered how the world's most powerful men end up losing it all? The obsession with being the biggest often leads to a massive bank account, but it can also lead to a physical and financial bankruptcy that few see coming. Ronnie Coleman shows off the trophies of 8 Mr. Olympias, but he's paid for them with surgeries worth millions. Flex Wheeler, meanwhile, faced a life-altering amputation that turned his financial world upside down. And then there's Tom Platz, who chose a Corvette over a steak in Gold's Gym, a mistake that likely cost him billions. In this video, we're looking at how bodybuilding's greatest legends spent their fortunes, and why some are now fighting for financial survival outside the gym. Ronnie Coleman. Let's start at the very top with none other than Ronnie Coleman.
1997, I didn't complain when I got 9th. The moral to the story is, why complain?
Whose career was built on lightweight baby chance and a staggering dominance that earned him 8 consecutive Mr. Olympia titles, tying Lee Haney for the most ever. While his peak net worth was once estimated in the millions, Ronnie's story is a sobering look at the physical and financial cost of being the king. Highest paid athlete in the sport, and now paying the highest price. There you go, my man. Keep those titles coming, man. Lord knows I work for it, for damn sure. The king didn't just make his fortune from the $110,000 checks for winning the Olympia. The real money came from his massive supplement line, Ronnie Coleman Signature Series, which at its peak was generating over $15 million in annual revenue across 100 countries. But the bill for his legendary intensity, squatting 800 pounds for reps and pushing the human body past its breaking point, eventually came due. Since 2017, Coleman has undergone over 13 major surgeries on his hips and spine. I've spent close to $2 million on these surgeries just to be able to walk again. Every time I go in, it's another $300,000 to $500,000. It's a lot of money, but I'm a fighter. Coleman's lifestyle used to match his massive physique. He famously lived in a custom-built 4,000 square foot home in Arlington, Texas, which he purchased for approximately $500,000 in the early 2000s. The property featured a private gym that cost over $200,000 to equip, filled with heavy-duty machines that could handle his superhuman strength. When it comes to vehicles, his collection once included a high-end Hummer H2 and custom trucks built to hold his 300-pound frame, alongside luxury SUVs. Today, while he remains a successful entrepreneur, much of his liquid wealth is funneled back into his recovery. Ronnie proves that in this sport, the most expensive thing you can own is your health. Flex Wheeler.
You imagine you're paying an athlete to look a certain way, and there's a dark side to what they have to do.
In stark contrast to Ronnie's brute strength stands the Sultan of Symmetry, Flex Wheeler, with an estimated career earnings pool that should have secured him for life, but a journey that embodies the volatility of the pro life. Flex, who many, including Arnold Schwarzenegger, consider the greatest physique to ever step on stage.
One of the fastest growing stars of California. He's state champion, Flex Wheeler.
We're enjoying Ken Flex Wheeler from Fresno, California. Took 3 years off to go to the police academy. Good for him. He became a deputy sheriff and then quit and went back into bodybuilding.
Has faced a series of medical and financial car crashes that left him starting from zero. I grew up in poverty, and when the money started coming in, I didn't know how to keep it. I just wanted to live. The 4-time Arnold Classic winner struggled to manage the sudden influx of wealth during the 90s. His spending was often impulsive, and he lacked the long-term hedging needed for a short-lived career. In 1994, a near-fatal car accident cost him months of earnings and almost ended his life, but the real blow was internal. Flex battled focal segmental glomerulosclerosis, a rare kidney disease, which led to a kidney transplant and ultimately the partial amputation of his right leg in 2019. The medical bills were described as insurmountable, reaching into the hundreds of thousands of dollars. His friend Dennis James famously had to start a GoFundMe to help cover the $120,000 surgery cost, as the legendary champion found himself unable to travel or work. Flex's car collection, once a source of pride including luxury BMWs and custom imports, was liquidated alongside his real estate investments to keep up with the cost of living and rehabilitation. Today, he works as a transformation coach, proving that even a legendary status doesn't protect you from the crushing weight of medical debt. Tom Platz.
Mr. America, a big hand now for very well known, the Golden Eagle.
Welcome to the pain zone. It's where we live.
Tom Platz, the Golden Eagle,
Fight to the death. Kill me! Lose is nothing. You must not lose.
represents a different kind of broke, the billionaire that never was. While Platz isn't destitute, his story is the ultimate cautionary tale of choosing immediate gratification over generational wealth. Known for having the greatest legs in the history of the sport, Platz was a massive draw in the late 70s and 80s, earning high appearance fees and seminar money. In the late 1970s, Platz was offered the opportunity to buy a stake in the original Gold's Gym for a relatively small sum. At the time, Gold's was the mecca, and the brand was about to explode. Instead of investing in the real estate and the brand that would eventually become a global multi-billion-dollar entity, Platz chose to buy a brand new Corvette. I wanted the car. I wanted the lifestyle right then. I didn't see the gym becoming what it became. I was young, I was the Golden Eagle, and I wanted to fly. That Corvette is long gone, but Gold's Gym turned into a global empire with hundreds of locations. Analysts suggest that if Platz had taken the deal, his net worth today would rival that of the wealthiest athletes in the world. Instead, he spends his time traveling for seminars and coaching. His car collection today is modest, and he lives a quiet life in the desert, often reflecting on the billions of dollars he left on the table for the sake of a fast car and a few years of flash. Victor Martinez, the Dominican Dominator. Victor Martinez had the world at his feet in 2007 when he narrowly lost a controversial Mr. Olympia decision to Jay Cutler. With major sponsorships from MHP and a career that seemed destined for the very top, Victor was earning hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. However, his financial trajectory was derailed not by health, but by legal challenges. In 2011, upon returning from an Arnold Classic victory in Europe, Martinez was detained by immigration authorities due to a prior legal issue involving his permanent residency status. I went from being the king of the Arnold to sitting in a cell, watching my bank account drain. The legal fees to fight his deportation and secure his status reportedly exceeded $200,000, and by the time he was released, the bodybuilding landscape had changed. Martinez had invested heavily in a restaurant in New York City, Muscle Maker Grill, but the business struggled while he was incarcerated. His real estate in the New York area and his collection of luxury vehicles, which once included custom Jeeps and high-end SUVs, were all impacted by his time away from the stage. Today, Victor remains a respected figure in the industry, but his story is a reminder of how quickly an empire can crumble when the outside world catches up to you. Kevin Levrone.
When I was 10 years old, my father died from cancer. We buried like 6 people in a matter of 4 months. Kids made fun of me going to school. I hated school, man.
Kevin Levrone, the uncrowned king, had one of the most lucrative careers in the 90s, winning 23 IFBB Pro shows and amassing a net worth that was once estimated in the multi-millions. However, Levrone's spending was defined by his pursuit of a rock star lifestyle outside the gym. Levrone invested hundreds of thousands of dollars into a music career and acting, spending heavily on studio time and production for his band, Full Blown. While his peers like Jay Cutler were buying apartment complexes and land, Levrone was funding a dream that didn't provide a return on investment. I spent a lot of money on my music and my movies. I wanted to be more than just a bodybuilder, but the entertainment business is expensive. After a brief retirement, he found himself needing to return to the stage in 2016 at the age of 51, partially to revitalize his brand and supplement line, Levrone Signature Series. His real estate journey saw him move from a massive Maryland estate with a private recording studio to more modest dwellings as he diversified into different business ventures. While Levrone has managed to stay afloat through his supplement brand's success in Europe, his story highlights the danger of lifestyle creep and the high cost of chasing fame in industries where you aren't the main event. Paul Dillet.
I can remember Paul Dillet was one of the first guys I ever seen. And you know what? I'm white, but Paul Dillet is twice bigger than I was.
Paul "Freak" Dillet was one of the highest paid bodybuilders of the 90s, known for a physique that looked like it was carved out of granite. With a massive contract from Joe Weider and a status as one of the most popular freaks in the game, Dillet was earning a fortune. However, a series of health scares and management issues led to a financial decline. Dillet famously froze on stage at the 1994 Arnold Classic due to extreme dehydration, a moment that became a viral legend, but signaled the beginning of his health struggles. The cost of maintaining his massive 280-pound frame, combined with medical expenses and a lack of long-term investment, drained his savings. Dillet later transitioned into the promotional side of the sport, founding the WBFF, World Beauty Fitness and Fashion. But the early years of the promotion required a massive personal capital injection. His lifestyle in Canada, which once included high-end real estate and a penchant for luxury fashion, was scaled back as he focused all his resources on his new business. Today, he has found success as a promoter, but the transition from being the talent to the owner was a rocky road that saw much of his early wealth vanish into the overhead of the industry. Lee Priest.
He's one of those guys that has managed to be one of the shorter bodybuilders but still keep a tremendous symmetry and proportion, which is very hard to do.
Finally, we have the Stockton of bodybuilding, Lee Priest. The Australian prodigy was earning six figures as a teenager and was a mainstay at the top of the IFBB for over a decade. But Lee's rebellious nature and frequent clashes with the IFBB led to fines and suspensions that cost him millions. They fined me, they suspended me, and they tried to break me. But I just kept buying cars. Lee is a self-confessed car fanatic, famously spending his winnings on a fleet of vehicles, including a customized BMW, a fleet of race cars for his secondary career as a driver, and a massive collection of toys and collectibles that filled his home. His real estate in Venice Beach and later in Australia was often at the mercy of his career volatility. Lee's spending on his hobbies, specifically car racing and his massive tattoo collection, was legendary. When he was banned from the IFBB, he lost his main source of income, leading to a period of financial uncertainty where he had to rely on guest appearances and smaller sponsorships. Today, Lee remains one of the most popular figures on social media, but he openly discusses how his don't care attitude toward the establishment left him with a bank account that didn't always match his legendary status. Mustafa Mohammad.
Months, sometimes a week later when they edit it. So it's nice to have these big giant screens where they can look and see their back.
The Jordanian lion, Mustafa Mohammad, built an estimated net worth in the millions during the late 90s and early 2000s, known for his incredible quad development and top-tier placings. However, his financial downfall was as rapid as his health decline. Mustafa suffered from severe kidney failure, a direct consequence of the extreme measures required to stay competitive at the elite level. The cost of his treatments, including dialysis and eventual transplant procedures, decimated his savings. Mustafa went from living in luxury to struggling to pay for basic medical necessities. He disappeared from the spotlight for years, only resurfacing to warn the younger generation about the dangers of the sport. His story is a stark reminder that when the kidneys fail, the bank account usually follows. Andreas Muner.
Truly ripped. How ripped is Muner? Very.
The story of Andreas Muner is the ultimate tragedy of the sport. Known for being the most conditioned athlete in history, Muner's spending was purely internal. He spent every dollar he made on the most advanced chemicals and supplements to maintain a 365-day-a-year shredded physique. When he died at the age of 30 in 1996, it was discovered that he had almost no money to his name. His estate was virtually empty, as all his earnings from guest posings and sponsorships had been reinvested into his physical upkeep. Munzer's death wasn't just a physical collapse, it was a financial one, leaving his family with nothing but trophies and debt. Dorian Yates.
The genetics for the sport, I'm also training efficiently, so I'm able to progress all the time.
He wasn't going to stop, he was a train.
In stark contrast to the tragedies stands Dorian Yates, the Shadow, with an estimated net worth of $4 million. Like Brock Lesnar, Yates chose a life of relative seclusion and smart investments. After winning 6 Mr. Olympia titles, Yates didn't buy a fleet of Ferraris. Instead, he invested in his own gym, Temple Gym, and launched DY Nutrition. Yates moved to Marbella, Spain, where he lives a comfortable, low-key life focused on yoga and spiritual growth. He avoided the lifestyle creep that plagued his peers, proving that you can reach the top of the mountain and keep your fortune if you treat the sport like a business rather than a party. Thanks for watching. From the operating rooms of Texas to the desert ranches of the legends, these men prove that the real fight begins when the gym closes. If you liked this video, don't forget to explore more similar content through the suggested cards on your screen.